I'm Captain Jim Ross, and this is Catching Memory Outdoors. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in. Got the one and only Mogan Man showing up this morning, Captain Blair Wiggins. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning. What is happening?
Oh, I'll tell you what. It's been a pretty good week of fishing. We've had some good nearshore bites. Offshore bites kind of slowed down, but the nearshore bites picked up, so it's kind of, it's making things more fun along the beaches now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I happened to got out this past week, and it happened to be the only, we tried to film in a little bit with John Lulay.
Right.
And got up, and the day before, I'm talking to him that night. He's like, man, we're going to have a great day. We got this, we got that, we got this, we got that. Get out there, and the wind was blowing. The only day of the week it wasn't slick, calm out there, and they had been chasing some nice tarpon, and we got on a couple out there, but we couldn't get one to stay buttoned up, and that was about it. So we went and did the black drum thing.
There you go. Well, that's the nice thing is there's always some kind of a backup plan.
Yeah.
That's but I'll tell you, it's this past 2 weeks, last week in particular, was not as easy a week to fish. Everybody, in fact, yourself, you were out on the water as well. Everybody that's been out has just said, you know what, it's been a little tough. And if you look at it, it's because the major feed was during the middle of the night. And so there was really, in the daytime, the fish were just kind of picking and licking. They weren't really biting, they weren't chewing hard. So in most cases, so it made it a little more difficult. Now this week it's kind of swung back around, and we're starting to get a morning bite, and then but still we have a major feed. The last 3 or 4 days, the major feed's been 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is typically when we're trying to run from thunderstorms and get back to the dock or wash the boat up and get in the house before we get struck by lightning.
Or hydrate.
Yeah, and rehydrate because we've sweated all morning.
I mean, it was flat, brutal hot out there this week.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, brutal hot. I mean, at one point we got in some shallow water with the skeeter, and it was showing, I think it was right around 89.9.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Almost 90-degree water temp.
Well, even the near shore out of Canaveral yesterday was 85 degrees.
Jeez.
So it's been warm. Well, hey, guys and gals, we want to let you know that you can tune in this morning by getting us on the couple of different venues that we talked about. Obviously, the app, the WWBC app, you can download it. Facebook Live, of course. And good morning to those of you that are watching. We've got Christopher and Trevor and Robin and Eric and Tommy so far that just tuned in. So good morning, guys. And this segment of the show is brought to you by Blue Points Marina out at Port Canaveral. So if you're looking for a good place to keep your boat, check out Blue Points because they've got a great location and also a great staff out there, great facility. Wind rated to 150 mile an hour, so you can save a little on your insurance because of that wind load rating. So check them out at Blue Points. And, days like Saturdays and Sundays are great days to go out there, Blair, because you can see how efficient those guys are at getting all of the boats in the water and out of the water.
It's amazing to watch those guys with a forklift. Those Wiggins forklifts.
The Wiggins forklift, yeah. Too bad you're not getting some of those royalties, right?
No kidding, man. Every marina, man, it's like, oh, look, another Wiggins. Where's that long-lost relative at,
Exactly. Well, we appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to be talking with the Mogan Man here for a couple of hours. We got 2 hours to talk about. Now, Blair, before we go into the IRL Clam project, I really want to talk about what's going on with you this season, because there are seasons that, and I know we talk all the time. There are seasons where everything just comes together, the shoots go easily, and boom, you've got a season shot in no time. And then there are seasons where you're really struggling to get some quality footage for the viewers, and then it doesn't matter the venue, whether you're on the East Coast of Florida, West Coast of Florida, wherever you happen to be. Some years, things happen and it makes it tough. What are the challenges of shooting a show? That could be a whole program in itself.
Oh, it's tough, man. And this year, I'm ready. 6 months into it, I'm ready for 2020 to be over. I mean, I'm ready for a new year. It's been a tough year this year, with everything that's happened, with the COVID, and the beginning of the year was a little rough going on, but we've overcome all that. There was just some personal things going on, but it's been a tough year. It seemed like every time we have beautiful weather, we schedule a trip, and that day there's a red, you look on the radar, there's a red cloud over our head, and it's, Zeus is throwing the thunderbolts, the lightning bolts, and it's just been real tough. But And I say this to the guides when I go out. I say, well, I tell you, I don't expect to catch anything. Because when I do go catch something, I'm excited.
Then you're like, I caught
did catch
something. Yeah.
That's been my philosophy the whole, kind of my whole life. Go out and not expect to catch anything. Go out and enjoy. But it's just a bonus. You're catching stuff. But when you're doing a TV show, it's not just a bonus. You're catching. You have to catch fish.
There's even more pressure in shooting a show than there is in guiding.
Yeah.
Because in guiding, you're in front of 2 or 3 or 4 people on the boat. That's your audience. When you're filming for TV, there's millions of people that are your audience, and they're all expecting you to go catch the giant Mogan fish every single time.
Oh yeah, and that's been the tough thing. I mean, we did the first time we went out with John. It was about 5 weeks ago, I guess, and the water was really, really low in the lagoon. So I mean.
And it was still kind of clean then.
Yeah, it was crystal clear, and we did get a real nice trout. I mean, he was a double-digit trout, so we'll leave it at that.
Right.
So you
you don't want to give too much away for the show, right? But
double-digit there, but double-digit trout. There's still some of those left out there. I was amazed myself. There was, but saw a couple of them. Not like we'd go out and see 15 or 20 like years gone past. That are over that 30-inch mark.
Right.
But this one was a rare one, and he started swimming right next to the boat, and it was probably 5 feet away from the boat when he ate. And
wow, so you got to actually watch the tape.
Watch the whole thing, and Adam was right on it. My cameraman Adam was right on it. So you get to see the trouts. He flares and sucks in the little DOA. It was a cool bite,
Yeah.
It's still amazing. You can still see stuff out there for the first time, that close, and it was neat.
That's why we do it, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, that experience is why we do it over and over and over again. Because I always tell people they're like, what do you enjoy about fishing? I'm like, I enjoy the adrenaline rush. When you're a kid playing sports, you're playing baseball and you hit a good ball, or you might have knocked one over the fence and out of the park. That adrenaline rush, the racing motocross, BMX, riding your skateboard, on a half pipe. All of those things are, kind of an adrenaline rush. And as we get older, we're not riding skateboards
nope.
and
nope.
and BMX bikes anymore, So there has to be something to replace that, and you start looking for those things because your body honestly craves that feeling. It craves that sensation, and watching the take like that. So, and I'm going to kind of segue into something that happened this week that really got me fired up, because on Thursday I was out fishing on one of the wrecks that you and I have actually shot a show on before, and we hook a jack. So we're fighting the jack. Well, customers fighting the jack. Jack's running, gets, 150 yards away from the wreck, and all of a sudden comes to the surface, and there's an explosion. And about 400-pound Goliath grouper.
Oh man.
comes up from the bottom. Like I said, we're not even on the wreck. Comes up from the bottom and just explodes and just swallows this 20-pound jack.
That's amazing. That is cool.
And so for the next, 45 minutes, we were trying our hardest, and he had no idea he was even hooked. He was just swimming around wherever he wanted to go.
Oh, yeah.
But to have a fish come up, in basically 60, 70 feet of water.
Oh, I know where you're at then.
And just slam a jack like it was like you're using a skidder walk or walk the dog plug, and a trout blows up on it. I mean, it was that kind of an explosion, and there you go. There's that adrenaline rush,
Oh yeah.
So you and talking about things that you've never seen before. There's something that I had never seen. I've seen them come up and chase when you're over a wreck and the fish is still down 20, 30 feet, even 15 feet. You see them come up like that. But to come up and just explode on the top like that.
It's a sound, it's the shape of a bass, and they got that hole in it.
It makes a snook pop seem pretty weak by comparison.
Doesn't sound like a 22, sounds like a cannon.
Yeah.
Boom.
So that adrenaline rush is what we go for. So, when you get to see that double-digit trout just feet from the boat and take your lure, for the first, here's the first thing that goes through your mind, right? What?
No, the first.
What
First thing that came out of my mouth was "holy bleep!" He ate it, so you're gonna hear a beep. Yeah, you're definitely gonna hear a beep on that one, I think.
The microphone wasn't muffled at that point.
The microphone doesn't have auto mute.
Loud and clear. Yeah.
But yeah, because everybody that watches it are going to say the same thing. Holy, he ate it.
Yeah. Oh man, but all of the cool places that you've been able to go. So shooting a show like you've shot, you've basically gotten to see the best of the best, taking you to places where you've got the best opportunity at a specific bite on that given day. So talk about a highlight reel. When you're talking about watching an addictive fishing television show, that is a highlight reel of the southeastern United States and a couple of other places as well.
Yeah, we've been out to California, Oregon. It was, some cool spots, and Amazon. I could go on and on. Yeah, a highlight reel is just every fish caught on addictive fishing would be pretty cool. It would be, after 21 years, it might take a little while to get through it.
Well, just the locations themselves, that's what's so cool, is that you've been to secret honey holes and secret spots, and if there is such a thing, let's just say. But you've been able to go with a guy who understands the area and has unlocked the secrets of that area.
Well, there's definitely niches out there that I've gone with guys before, and it's been an awesome fishery, but it's been such a tight location that I told the guy, and I said, I'm not going to do a show here. The fishing is awesome. We're catching giant fish, but if I do a show here and people see this, you're not going to have your
this fishery won't be here.
This fishery won't be here. I mean, it's happened to me, and I've had the guy tell me, "Man, I wish I hadn't have taken you to that spot. There was 10 boats there after that show aired, and now it's ruined. They tore the grass up, and so there's certain places out there I won't show.
Yeah.
Just out of the respect for the guide, and the guide will think about it for a second and say, "Yeah, you're right. I don't want to show that." And, it'd be killer, and we could go in there and just shoot the water and not show any landmarks, but, it
loses something.
It loses the excitement, because you're not seeing everything around. Not trying to figure out where we are.
So of all of the places in Florida, well, let's tell you what, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll have more with Captain Blair Wiggins, and we really, really appreciate you guys and gals tuning in, especially on Facebook. So we got quite a few more people. We got Dave Cassone, Danny Beard, Mike Yeomans, Jennifer Meredith, Tony Davidson. Good morning to all of you guys and gals. We appreciate it. And we're going to be right back with the Mogan Man, Captain Blair Wiggins, and more Catch a Memory after these messages. Just restocked. The guys up at Ace Hardware once again. They've sold another bunch of them, so we sent them a bunch more back up there so you guys and gals can go get them. New Smyrna Outfitters in New Smyrna. Strike Zone in Melbourne. Out at Port Canaveral, you're looking at Sunrise Marina. And then down in Sebastian, you got them at Reel 'em In Bait and Tackle. So check out one of those locations, and you guys and gals can pick up a memory stick today. Blair Wiggins is my guest in the studio this morning. For those of you that are just tuning in, we got Joel Prine. Miss Wiggins is up this morning. Good morning, Miss Carrie. Mike Gulick, Rich Seacrest, Bill Sargent. Bill, I haven't talked to Bill in a long time. Bill's a great guy. God, talk about an icon. I need to get him in here.
Yeah, Bill, you need to come in.
Bill, you need to come in and do a show with me. I need to make that happen. Willie Wimmer, Rick. I tell you what, there's just a bunch of people. We appreciate y'all tuning in for Facebook Live.
It's Bill Sargent's fault that I'm doing what I'm doing today.
Really?
I think so.
Well, you know what? Me too.
He put the bug in me. Me and Kevin, my producer, had caught Kevin was on the boat. He
Right.
did catch one of the redfish, but it was a 10-pound trout, a 15-pound redfish, and we went down to Harry Goods right in front, and they took a picture. It was black and white. That shows
Black
how
and white
long-
picture, yeah.
And it was a giant trout, giant redfish, and it was pretty cool. And I was like, man, that was neat, because everybody kind of recognized me, and the guys that read the paper saw the picture, and they're like, "Are you that kid that caught that big trout, man?" I'm like, yeah. So it kind of got me the fever.
Every Sunday morning. This was even before most of the TV shows. Every Sunday morning.
Oh yeah.
I would wake up early as a kid, as a 8 to 14-ish year old kid, wake up early and get the newspaper, go run down to the street, pick up the newspaper, pull it in, tear the plastic wrapper off of it, and dig through for the sports section and flip it straight to the back page so I could read the outdoors section.
Oh yeah, that was
Because
me.
Bill Sargent, was telling us what to do and
Oh,
where
yeah.
to go and how it is.
Trout bites should be good around the spoil island.
Yeah.
Stop water plugs on the oyster
Oh
bar.
yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah.
What a great just icon. I don't know why that's never happened. I need to get Bill in here. Hey, let's go right to the phone lines. Captain Mike Mann's on the line this morning. What's going on in Mosquito Lagoon this morning, Mikey?
Hey, good morning, guys. We are watching tarpon roll this morning and trying to get one of them to jump on one of these circle hooks and one of these DMC circle hooks and do a dance for us.
There you go. There you go.
Got a big building to the east of you?
What's that?
Probably to the south.
You got a big building to the east of you?
No, I'm actually north. I'm
Oh.
way north.
Yeah.
And they were in the river thick the other day.
Yeah. I was down there last week up and even up till Monday, and then I've been doing. We're doing a 3 hours morning. I got another 3 hours this afternoon or late this morning, so we're staying closer to home, get more fishing time in and less running time. And
Most definitely.
but yeah, I'll tell you what, the trout bite's been a little hit or miss this week. They've been feeding pretty okay first thing in the morning, but man, it's been so hot. they're not enjoying much later.
I was talking earlier, Mike, that we've had that little bit of morning bite, and then that lull, that mid-morning to midday lull, and then it starts to pick back up. And it's just the way that the moon phase is right now. So in fact, the major feed for the afternoon yesterday was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, nobody wants to be out there at that time.
Heck no, it was 119 degrees or something. It was ridiculous.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty much. There's 2 or 3 right there just roll. We've got them rolling all around us. Just not quite as thick as I had in here yesterday morning. I was seeing a roll about every 5-10 seconds. Today it's about every 25-30 seconds. So still a decent number, but they're just scattered more today.
Mike, have you found any consistent bait for them right now? It seems like, I'm talking with the various guys, and of course, myself being on the water earlier this week in the lagoon system, and I'm finding that pogies, pilchards, greenies, shrimp, and mullet are the go-to bait.
We haven't really gotten any pogies or pilchards up here yet, so I've been sticking with pigfish and croakers. Haven't really thrown them up earlier in the month. They were doing really well, and no matter what you threw here. But they're chasing shrimp. We got a lot of shrimp in the water. We got a lot of mullet in the water, and and we're starting to get a lot of glass minnows. And once they turn on that glass minnow feed, that's when they really get challenging.
That's what they did over in the Indian River side this past week and a half. They kind of switched over to feeding. They're straining through them like whales through krill. And you're right. It's difficult to get them to bite when they do that. The bull sharks have been, they've played. The gaff's tops, the gaff's top sail cats, they've played, but the tarpon have been difficult on most days. You get 1 or 2 that'll actually cooperate after sight casting to 10 or 12 of them.
Yeah, and that's and it's been really kind of interesting how they're. I mean, you're seeing them laid up. You're pitching a nice bait to them. They're just like, I'm going to swim past that. And then all of a sudden one hits when you're not expecting it. I mean, It's been very interesting what they've been doing. It's, you got to kind of try things. I've been putting pigfish and croakers under floats. I've been free lining them. We've been getting a lot, in the channel where we're sending them back, where I've got them rolling. Once we get back kind of about as far as we want to go from the boat, then we're doing a slow retreat. And that's been getting some good strikes, just slowly reeling it in. And even down on the lagoon side. But I tell you, I think it's going to be an outstanding tarpon season, judging by the huge numbers I've been seeing this early in the season.
I'm really surprised at the number of fish that we have in the lagoon right now versus the beach. There's a few fish on the beach, but I'm thoroughly convinced there's 3 or 4 times as many in the lagoon system.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, this is probably the most I've seen, because I've got 3 or 4 different areas that, I've been fishing fairly heavily, and it is just loaded up with tarpon. And, it's a great thing. What is this boat doing? This guy's going to run. Oh my goodness!
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
No, he's going to run right between me and the shoreline.
Yeah, there you go.
He's going to run right between me and the shoreline.
FL numbers, please.
Yeah. He's in a Blue Scout with twin power poles, so he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows what he's doing because he's got twin power poles.
That's the signal.
And a white push pole.
And a white push pole, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a white push pole. Oh, no, even better, no push pole. So, but, yeah, I've been really, impressed with the numbers I've been seeing through here, through all over the lagoon system. I mean, where you were mentioning earlier with the big building, there were thousands. I mean, as far as I could see in different directions, I could see rolls. So, I mean, I don't know if there's just not as much bait on the beach here. Everybody's having trouble finding pogies on the beach here. I know they've started showing up where you guys are a little bit. I've heard that they're up in Flagler, but we've been having a hard time finding them on the beach here.
Yeah, we've had a pretty decent amount this week. It's been one and done with the cast net, and I'm liking that because
that's good. I've heard that in 4 years now.
Yeah, when you're throwing, I'm getting really shallow. I'm netting them in like 6 feet of water.
Man,
in the surf, like just outside the surf break. But they're there, so that's what I've been doing, just sliding in, throwing the net, and done. So actually, Richard Bradley gave me some bait one day, so I didn't have to actually throw my net that day, which was nice. But
that's always good.
Then 3 other days I handed bait off to other people. So it all comes back around. It all comes back around. So if I pull up to him, I saw he got a pretty good load, and and I was like, my customer's like, "Aren't you going to get the net?" I'm like, "No, watch this." I'm like, "Hey man, you got a couple to spare?" And he's like, "I can't lift the net." Of course I do.
Well, Rodney's been calling me every weekend. Hey, where are the pogies? I'm like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, well, hey guys, let me get these guys back on some fishing. I have some days open at the end of July.
And how does somebody get a hold of you?
You can give me a call at area code 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, fatfishguide.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Fat Fish Guide Service, and Instagram, Captain Mike Mann.
Awesome,
and
Mike.
Hey, I hear the mangrove snapper bite's been going off offshore.
I understand. It sounds like it's been pretty good up there. I was talking with Captain Mark Gibson, and he was telling me that the bite up there was pretty good. So, well, you guys have a fun day out there. Hopefully you'll put a couple of those tarpon in the air and maybe get a lip grab on one.
Sounds good, guys. Get out there and catch your memory.
All right, Mike. Take care.
Good luck, Mike.
That's awesome. We don't have, every single year, we don't have good opportunities at tarpon in the lagoon system. And right now we do. Even though they're a little fussy, on some days, it's still an opportunity where a guy like Mike, he's running a Hells Bay flat skiff. He still gets an opportunity, and he doesn't have to go out on the beach to try to do it. Now, obviously, the beach has been nice this week, but there are days that you don't want to be out on the beach in a flats boat.
Oh, yeah.
And so to have the opportunities to chase tarpon in the lagoon system like we do, it's fantastic. I'll tell you.
Everybody's saying they're finicky. Have you ever fished them in the Keys?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you're going to get a lot more shots down there in the Keys because the water's crystal clear and you can see
You're going to get a lot more refusals.
But, yeah, you talk about finicky. Yeah, I mean, unless you get down to the Marquesas down that area, if they see a fly, they eat it. But, those ones in Almirada and Key West, they can be tough.
Yeah, and they've already seen whatever fly it is that you're
everything.
throwing. Yeah, so I don't care if you're throwing toads or deceivers, or I don't care what you're throwing. You know, they've seen them.
Yeah, they think they're safe with all that shrimp boat trash now, but I mean they've been using that for years to catch them right there in Key West Harbor.
Yeah. Well, guys and gals, we'd love to hear from you. 321-632-1000 is our Blakemore Real Magic Studios call-in hotline, and we are definitely throwing some live stuff out there for you on Facebook, which is it's been kind of interesting to me, you know, to do the Facebook Live thing, because it gives the anglers that are out there an opportunity to kind of interact with us a little bit more. We've got Sean McCoy watching. We've got Jamie Thrapis from Yellow Dog Charters is watching. Jamie, I'm surprised that you're not on the water this morning, buddy. In fact, give us a call, 321-632-1000. We'd love to get a report from Ponce Inlet and see what you've been catching up there. Captain Russ Glenn is also watching this morning, so good time.
Quite a few. Everybody that's online's staying out of the heat today, I guess. Good Lord, it was hot yesterday.
Yesterday it was hot. It's every day. It's every day. It's you know, I was thinking about it. You know, we had a really late, cool spring.
Yeah, it was
all the way into
May,
and then actually, like the first week of June, we still had one cold front that came through and made it seem like it was bearable.
Yeah, I actually had to wear a jacket on the airboat that day.
But all that tells you is that November's still going to be hot.
Yeah.
It's not cooling down when it's supposed to cool down.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
you know, they keep talking about this red sunset, red sunrises. It was gray. I mean, it's gray out there. I'm not with this, you know,
with
the
Sahara
dust and everything.
There was one the other morning that was pretty nice, but I haven't seen anything that was exceptional.
Yeah, this morning it was kind of ugly.
Was it?
Yeah, it was nasty looking driving up 95 this morning.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take our next break. When we come back, we got more with Captain Blair Wiggins, the Mogan Man, and Catch a Memory right after these messages. Don't go away. All the cool stuff that you can get down at Strike Zone. Those guys and gals down there fish, so if you have some questions on what kind of gear to get, those guys and gals at Strike Zone can definitely help you out. So make sure you tell them you heard about it right here on Catch a Memory Outdoors. You know, we've got, I'm going to just do a quick gloss over of the conditions for today. We've got southeast at 5 to 10, switching to south at about 5 to 10 by this afternoon. Seas are 1 to 2 foot at 9 seconds. They were basically 1 foot last 2 days. It's been pretty nice out there. Water temps are all about 83 to 85 degrees at the various buoys, and of course 1 foot at 9, 1 foot at 10 seconds. Eastern edge of the Gulf Stream's 29 nautical miles due east of Port Canaveral, 22 east of Sebastian, and 14 east of Fort Pierce right now. So some good stuff going on out there. Good stuff going on out there. Hopefully you guys and gals get a chance to get out there. Captain Blair, you know, we were talking about that on the break. You got a chance to take the airboat out last night, do a little frog gigging. It's the time of year when it's
time of year.
It's still hot at night, but at least it's not 900. It doesn't feel like it's 900 degrees out there.
No, but you would be surprised at how many bugs are out there.
Oh, I'll bet.
It is incredible. You can't be squeamish of bugs if you're going to go frog gigging this time of year, because they are so thick. I wear my buff over my hair. I wear one up my neck and my clear glasses, because if you don't have any of that, I mean, you're going to
covered.
You're covered, and you can't slap them because they're big, juicy bugs, and they get in your hair.
And you know what's weird about being out on the marsh at night is that it's not just mosquitoes or no-see-ums. There's stuff that you've never seen before that flies around in the marsh at night.
Yeah, I was one after the water came up. I was the first boat to do the back trail. And it was really high. You couldn't see the trail really. You just had to feel your way through.
Yeah, kind of pick through
the grass was high with the seeds on it, and I had probably a foot of seeds in my boat, especially up front. And then when I got home, we got underneath the lights, and the pile of seeds that were there looked like it was alive. I mean, there was worms, there was bugs that if they were big, they'd scare the tar out of you.
Yeah, yeah.
It was incredible just seeing the whole thing move. It was all alive. I wish I had my chickens to throw on my boat. They'd have had a field day.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's so many different bugs out there. A lot of praying mantis out there, all different type of stick bugs, and they're sitting on the very top of the grass. So your grass, where it goes under them, they land in your boat or they land up on your face while you're running. And you can't be squeamish.
No.
And if you like frog legs, you're going to have...
Oh, yeah. There's some good ones out there right now. You had some nice pictures of some.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. But we're going to go do an airboat tour. In fact, I was going to get with you on this. we were going to go back down in December and hang out with Robbie Daffin and Derek Daffin and, those guys down in the Everglades and go down to the Hoot Owl again.
Sounds like fun to me.
So we'll have to give you some dates, and if you're not doing anything, me, my buddy Tony, and my buddy Dave went down there, and we just had an absolute blast this last year.
Yeah, you told me about that. It was out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, you have to run. We had to go about 14 miles back towards the Miccosukee Reservation before we even got cell phone coverage.
Man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Good place.
Yeah, it's a great place to be.
Great place to be.
Anytime you can get that far outside of cell phone coverage, you found you a nice little spot in the woods.
No
or the
doubt.
marsh, the Everglades, as the case may be.
I know a couple spots here real close that you can't get cell phone coverage.
Yeah, my house.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too. It all depends. If you got Verizon, you got coverage. If you got Sprint like we do, it's like you walk around on one toe with the other hand in the air and you're hopping around. And can you hear me now?
Carrying a clothes hanger,
Yeah,
like an antenna.
So tinfoil on your head. Yeah,
exactly. Well, let's go back and let's talk about some of the cool places that you fished over the years. Just here in Florida, because I know there's a lot of listeners out there and a lot of viewers on the Facebook that I'm a guy, I like to staycation. I don't have to go to some other place to have a good time. There's so many places right here in Florida that I really like to go to, and there's so many places here in Florida that I haven't ever been to that I would like to go to. That I can go someplace new for every vacation for the rest of my life, basically, and never see it all here in Florida.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What are some of the areas that you personally would go vacation at because of the fishing and the atmosphere and just the way that area is laid out?
Florida, I would say Chuckaluskee.
Okay.
Love Chuckaluskee. It's like, not as much as it was, 20 years ago when I went there, but it's like stepping back in time, going to Chuckaluskee. It's a fishing village, and it's just really neat. And, everybody kind of shares information. Hey, I got a couple nice snook. I saw a couple over here. I saw a school of redfish. And, it's just, it was a really neat place to go and fish.
Yeah.
It got hit pretty hard with a hurricane this past year, but, or last year. 2 years ago, whenever it was. Yeah. But, they got hit pretty hard, but the fishing down there is absolutely phenomenal. One of my buddies down there, Brian Sanders, he's a captain. We've done quite a few shows with him down there. I see him on Facebook, and he's throwing up pictures of just slob snook, and I love that place.
It's one of those last resort type places where it's not easy to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get there, it's not easy to navigate necessarily.
Because every corner looks good. I mean, every corner should hold a snook.
Yeah.
And those guides down there, Kevin Mihailov, I love fishing down there with him when we go down and do the technical stuff out of the beaver tail and, throwing the fly rod. Great captain down there. I'm fixing to go down, hopefully do a show with, I'll get his name here in a second. I'm sorry. I had a little... Chris Broom. There we go. Captain Chris Broom. He just won a tournament down there.
Oh, okay.
And that is going to be a heck of a show. I check his webpage out, man. He's big young kid, and he's hungry.
Perfect. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a whole lot of cool stuff that's coming up here, and coming up next weekend, we've got the grand opening of the 2020 Star Tournament by CCA Florida. And we have Miss Lisa Fitzgerald on the line this morning. Good morning, Lisa.
Well, good morning, Captain Jim. How are you?
I'm doing good. We have Captain Blair Wiggins in the show with us this morning.
That is exactly the voice I thought I heard. Hey, Captain Blair, how are you?
What's happening, Lisa? I guess you heard the news yesterday. We'll be talking about that here in a little bit. But thank you once again for putting me in touch with everybody that you have.
No, you are so welcome, and I'm so thrilled that together we're doing such wonderful things. I saw all that you guys got accomplished the other day, and wow is all I can say.
Yep, that's me. It's a big wow. I get chills up and down my spine when I think of this thing finally kicking off and seeing it actually come to fruition. I said on the interview when I did it, it's the dream come true that I've had. I can, got a voice to save this river, hopefully.
Well, and I remember you and I on the boat talking about it, and you're like, I wish I knew how or who or who to get in contact with. And I said, well, I think I know some people. And then the next thing we know, we're sitting in the office with Whitney Labs, CCA, and you, and it just became just such a cool endeavor, and it's going to be great for the lagoon, and just very proud of you staying true to the mission.
Yep. Thank you very much. It wouldn't have happened without you, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thanks. And, I appreciate you helping me tag redfish in the lagoon.
Oh, yeah, that was
We're so excited to get the Star competition started on July the 1st. Nearly 100 days of fishing with $500,000 in prizes that you can win your share of just for catching tarpon, a redfish, a snook, a trout, kingfish, grouper, mahi-mahi, but any fish you catch over the summer can be entered, and any fish of any size can be entered over the summer, as long as it's a saltwater fish, in the Power Pole Conservation Division. So, I had a lady call me the other day, and she's like, well, I don't target redfish. And I said, oh, my gosh, any fish you catch over the summer you can enter. She's like, what? I said, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So,
But the big thing is you have to be registered with CCA. You got to get in there, and if you want to play, you got to
sign up.
You got to sign up.
Yeah.
And I've heard this.
It's easy.
Oh, it's simple, and the bad thing about it is you hear the stories about the people. I was out the other day, I caught this tag redfish, and blah blah blah. Or did you sign up for CCA? No.
Did you know about it? Yeah.
Yeah, I knew about it, but I didn't sign up.
Yeah,
Well,
I knew about it, but no, I didn't sign up.
That's their 1 minute of stardom.
Yeah. Instead of their $80,000 boat, motor, and trailer package or truck package or whatever package that they chose,
Oh, yeah. It just blows my mind, that so many people who have caught redfish knew of the competition, but just never thought it would happen to them. I tell everyone who's fishing, this is kind of like insurance. So you get it just in case, but you'll be so happy when you do have it, because then all your friends and all your people won't be going, oh, I'm so sorry. Gosh, that was terrible.
My
Oh,
friends wouldn't be saying that. My friends would be saying,
Yeah.
it sucks to be you.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be...
I need some new friends.
Well, it is easy to get registered. You can just go to the Star website, CCAFLSTAR.com, click on register, and you're all set and ready to go. I am appreciative of all you anglers who participate and are signed up already. Thank you so much, and we hope that you'll continue to fish with us. It is a great opportunity to share, and we look forward to having more anglers registered and ready to go in the Star competition.
Well,
So just let me know if there's anything that we can do for you guys, and thanks again.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you for making a division for guys like me. The conservation division. I can, all these puffers and catfish, I can register every one of those things.
Yes, you can.
So
You
thank you.
can.
Lisa, can we hear from you next week?
You betcha. I'll give a call in next week and give you an update.
All righty. You have a great 4th of July weekend, and have a great weekend this weekend as well.
Thank you very much. You guys take care.
All right,
I'll
You
see
too.
later.
Thanks, Lisa.
Well, we've got a whole bunch of other people. David Ross is on. Ward Bemis is on. Miss Tracy Blythe Calderon is on. We waved at each other while I was outside of the surf break, and she was on the beach the other day
Oh, yeah.
with the kids. Yeah, down there playing on the beach, and we were out there trying to catch some tarpon. Brandon Gatewood is on. Good morning to everyone. We appreciate you all tuning in and checking out what's going on. We're going to take our next break, but Captain Blair Wiggins and myself, Jim Ross, are going to be right back with more Catch a Memory after these messages. And today we're going to talk about the hook removers that Rapala makes. They make a 9-inch hook remover if you're trying to get hooks back out of barracudas, sharks, even big redfish where they swallow a plug pretty far down their throat sometimes. And, of course, they make a little 3-inch as well for smaller fish. And also, it works really good for when you're removing baits off of your sabiki rigs. So the Rapala hook remover is the Rapala product of the week. Captain Blair Wiggins is in the studio this morning. If you guys and gals would like to give us a call here on the Blakemore Real Magic Studios hotline, give us a call, 321-632-1000. And the Blakemore Real Magic Studio is right here waiting for you to give us a call. You know what? One of the things that Blakemore Real Magic's been around for, 30 years or whatever, and it's a great product to put on your reel, kind of coats the reel, keeps it lubricated, keeps the corrosion off of it, also makes your line to simply cast better, especially if you're using monofilament. And the thing that I've started doing with my Blakemore Real Magic, though, is you know how your cast net, after you've used it and used it and used it, it starts getting stiff. You rinse it out every day, but it starts getting a little stiff. I've been taking the Blakemore Real Magic and spraying it on my cast net, and it rejuvenates that monofilament mesh, and it's like having a brand new net again. I just
beat soaking it in Downy, and
yeah,
that's what we used to do with the cast nets.
And which actually, I was talking with Tim Wade because I use Tim Wade nets. Most of my nets are Tim Wade nets. I've got a Black Pearl and I've got a Calusa as well, but and I've got a Barracuda. But anyway, most of my other nets are are Tim Wade nets. He was doing a test. He was testing the monofilament. And just straight line pull what it broke at, and then after soaking it, and then after leaving it in the sun he left it in the sun for like a month, which would equate to a year's worth of us using the net, basically, as a guide using the net. And obviously, leaving it in the sun was the worst thing for it. But taking the mesh and soaking it in Downy, he says the knot strength or the strength of the mesh actually went down, and it broke at about a half a pound less pressure than what it did when it was new without the Downy soaking on it. So that's kind of interesting that you soaked it in something to make it softer and more pliable, but it also weakened the product in the process. So the Blakemore Real Magic is designed to go on monofilament.
That's cool.
And doesn't do that. So anyway, I just take it and just spray as I'm loading it down in my bucket. After I've dried it, I start at the bottom and I just start putting it into the bucket, and I just start squirting it as I'm going, and put the handle in there, squirt a couple on the tops, put the cap back on it, and let it just sit in there until I have to use it again. And when I pull it back out, it's in great shape. And I mean, I've got one of his nets that I've thrown. I've had to have that net for 10 years. It's got more patches in it than it's got original mesh, but it still catches bait. I threw it yesterday, one and done. Loaded the well, time to go. We've made bait. Let's go run to the reef. And so that's one of the things that you can do with Blakemore Real Magic that you don't necessarily think about. Just kind of one of those off the wall things.
Beats the old days. I don't even know if you remember doing this, but I remember as a little kid, and we soaked our nets in varnish. They were cloth nets.
Oh, the cloth nets, yeah.
And I still have some of those old nets. They haven't seen varnish in about 40 years. But
yeah, I was going to say, they probably haven't seen daylight in about 40 years either. But
I have those. I'm going to be hanging up and put lures and stuff in them just to save it. But, yeah, they're still in great shape. I threw it the other day, and I think my dad might have varnished it right before he put it away, and because it was still stiff and nice, and, it was hard like varnish.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Danny Beard from Starbrite has joined us this morning. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning. How are you?
I see you have your fishing hat on.
Yeah, a little bit. It's got some weather on it.
I can see the salt sweat line on it.
The sweat line.
that was partly from yesterday.
That's a good hat right there, brother. There's
been a few fish and a few stories behind this hat. You'd think I'd know where to get some new ones.
You think you would know a guy, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, what's going on with you? You got to go fishing yesterday. Oh, you got to go clamming.
We got to clam plant yesterday.
So the IRL Clam Restoration Project. We might as well. We've kind of beat around the bush, but let's talk about this because Blair, you were the inspiration basically behind it. Starbrite is a big player in making it happen,
Huge
as well
player.
as a lot of the other partners. And to be able to go out and place how many clams did you guys place yesterday in the Rockledge area?
Yesterday we put out 50,000 clams.
50,000 clams.
That sounds like a lot, but over the past couple of months in that same area, and we could give away this area because it's pretty much 24-hour surveillance. It's behind River Rocks, in Rockledge, and so over the past couple of months they've been coming down, putting clams out, and right now there's approximately 325,000 clams in this little area that they put out, and our goal is to put 1 million clams in this area. And basically, it's on Norman's lease there.
So on the Norman's lease,
Yeah.
So you're kind of superseding.
Yes, super
that area with clams.
Yeah.
planting, super planting. Yeah, and that like I said, we had 7 bushels yesterday, 8 bushels,
Yeah.
and they're all about the size of a dime to a 50-cent piece.
Okay.
Is how
And they
big these
wrap them in
clams were.
cloth, right?
No, what we did, we have netting that's 14 foot wide and 50 foot in length.
Okay.
And we go broadcast the clams in a long strip area.
Sort of like a rectangle.
Yeah, big long rectangle, and then we'll cover them back over with these nets that the commercial industry uses, basically to protect the clams from predation, from the drum, the stingrays, everything likes to eat a clam.
Nurse sharks.
Oh yeah, everything eats clams. I've learned more about clams in the past 2 years than I ever thought I would. But anyway, when they put the nets over them, they'll leave the nets over them. We won't disturb them for a year. After a year passes, we're going to pull the nets off, and then they're free to do whatever. But they will still
clams
spawn.
can actually migrate.
Yes, they will migrate
a little bit. I mean, they're not like scallops.
No.
But they can move a little bit around here and there.
And so after we take the nets off of them, they should be big enough where the predators won't get in there, and hopefully won't get in there
Like them big
eat them all.
quahogs, huh?
Yeah, the big quahog clams. But
Now, how big, for those people that aren't familiar with a clam, how big does a clam in the Indian River get?
I've seen them where you could take the meat out of the clam, and it would be a pound of meat.
Really?
Oh, I've seen them huge. I've seen them, 8-9 inches across in a shell. You see these in the gift shops and stuff. You'll see a clam shell that's an ashtray, or they sell it for a little jewelry storage area, a key holder or something like that. There are some giant clams out there, bigger than your hand. I mean, if some of the clams I used to get as a kid out near George and Brady Island there in the Banana River, you could literally take the clam and put it over your face, and it would hide your whole face. I mean, you'd have to hold them with 2 hands almost. That's how big they were.
Wow.
And they make good clam strips, but I wish I knew what, back then, you're not thinking you're going to hurt the environment or anything like that. But and it wasn't the recreational guys that really put a hurting on it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a total over-harvest from the commercial sector.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, hopefully, FWC, after granting thousands of permits for people to come down and rape the bottom of this lagoon system, hopefully they've learned something about that, and we can not have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I mean, to me, I want to see everybody prosper. I want to be able to see recreational people go harvest. I want to see commercial guys have a limited harvest as well, because people like to eat clams.
Yeah. Well, right now, there hadn't been any commercial clamming in recreational beds and for some time, and the restaurants are still being supplied with enough clams.
Well, just aquaculture alone.
Through the aquaculture and lease.
Which is basically a better clam to eat anyway.
Yeah. You don't get the grid in them. I mean, they flush
and it's
them.
it's not filtered. It's not filtered what we want it to filter. We're basically, as putting these clams back in the lagoon system, we're putting a filtration system back in the lagoon system. Not necessarily putting it back in there for you to go eat, but to help clean up the water from the internal aspect, not the external the outsource, the outflows and things that come into the lagoon. This is the internal system that once that stuff gets there, this is going to help clean it up. So you may not necessarily want to eat that, but what that is doing is then cleaning the lagoon from the inside out.
Yep. Attacking it from the north end to south and meeting in the middle.
Awesome. Well, guys and gals, we appreciate it. Hey, we got Pat Stone on this morning, Miss Brenda Sanchez. Good morning from Oak Hill. Brenda and Julie are up there camping out this weekend. Hopefully y'all are catching some fish right there off the dock by LaFee's. Even my cuz is on this morning. Miss Christine Ross Smith is watching, so good morning to everybody. We're going to take a break. Captain Blair Wiggins, myself, Jim Ross, and Danny Beard are going to be right back with more Catch a Memory after these messages. If you're just joining us for the 8 o'clock hour, welcome. Grab a cup of coffee. Hopefully you've already had some breakfast, but if you're cooking, bring some up here. We could use some breakfast,
Yeah, definitely.
Bacon, eggs, biscuits, pancakes. We're not picky. We eat it all.
Case deliver.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm Captain Jim Ross. Captain Blair Wiggins, the Mogan Man, and Danny Beard from Starbrite is in the house this morning. We got Danny on camera now, so you can actually see him. We had the camera turned before, so we couldn't see him, but now we can see your face for radio, just like the one I have. This segment of the show, once again, is brought to you by Blue Points Marina up in Port Canaveral. Stop and check them out. Great place. I'm telling you right now, they do a fantastic job. Blair, we were talking about the Indian River Lagoon Clam Restoration Project, and you and Danny have been a big part of this. Danny, in fact, you were out there yesterday helping to put some of the clams in the water. It's going to be an ongoing thing.
Right.
And so this year there's hopefully another fundraiser. Have you guys gotten a date set for that yet?
Not yet. We're trying to figure out what's going to happen. I mean, with the recent spike yesterday, 9,000 case, and there's no telling what's going to happen. Hopefully everything will go away,
Well,
but it's going to be an online, like what CCA is doing right now.
Do virtual stuff.
Doing the virtual stuff. You still get great deals, and I think a lot more people have the opportunity to bid on stuff, the prizes and all the stuff that gets donated to raise money. And remember, you get great deals, but your money does go to the Clam Project.
Yeah.
When we do the banquet, all the money goes to it, and if you get a great deal on something, you expect to pay something for it. Take that extra money, throw it into the clam fund. I mean, it will do nothing but benefit the estuary.
A lot of the people that actually won different things actually redonated.
Yeah, they redonated, which was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, well, it's a win-win. Putting clams back in this lagoon system is a win-win. There are so many things that we don't have control over. We don't have control over what the municipalities are doing. We don't have control over, whether or not we have a hurricane come through and overwhelm our system with groundwater, so that we're then dumping, pollutants into the lagoon system at a record rate, both through stormwater runoff and through, the processing facilities, the waste processing facilities overflowing and having to dump back into the lagoon system. This is something that we ourselves have control over, and we don't have to have, we don't have to be legislated into having something happen. Just simply donating, and we've said this many, many times, by donating $20, you're putting 200 clams in the water. Those 200 clams over the course of a year filter approximately 1 million gallons of water. So for $20, you can help clean 1 million gallons of water a year. And everybody can afford $20. Heck, Bud Light on sale case is $20. So just, it's the same price as a case of Bud Light on sale. Everybody can afford $20 to help this lagoon system, if you know what I'm going at.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, here's some numbers for you that I just I was totally whelmed with, and I don't think you've actually heard about it. But to date, there's been approximately 1.2 million clams that we've put back in the Indian River Lagoon system from up around JB's Fish Camp and now as far south as River Rocks and Rockledge. Our next release is going to be a massive release down at Grant, just east of Grant Island, where I've got a lease down there.
Gotcha.
That's in my name, and we're gonna load that one up with clams and let them flourish down there, get back to a sustainable population there.
So here's one of the things that, if I'm understanding from Dr. Todd Osborne, if I'm understanding correctly, seagrass and clams benefit one another.
Yes.
Okay, so the clams the seagrass stabilizes the seafloor, which helps the clams feed a little more efficiently because they're not getting as much sand and dust and all that kind of stuff that gets blown up when there's not, or gets worked up whenever there's a wind situation or scenario. The clam then filters and deposits its excrement into the soil.
Poop.
They basically poop in the dirt, right?
Yep.
Fertilizer.
Which the type of grass that we have here, the widgeon grass, the Cuban shoal grass, the manatee grass, the various types of grasses that we have, it helps them to flourish because that's what they're accustomed to growing on. That's what they're accustomed to basically feeding on. That's what
just
those
like
grasses feed on.
putting manure on your garden.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that almost symbiotic relationship between clams and grass, because people all the time are like, the lagoon, over the years, the lagoon's a mess. The river this year looks way better than it's looked in quite some time, due to a number of factors, due to cleanup factors, and then also due to a lack of rain. Now that we've got some rain, we're starting to see brown algae sprout its ugly head back up again. But there's this cry: let's punch a hole in the barrier island. Let's create an inlet. Let's flush the lagoon out.
I think that'll be a last resort.
Right. Well, that will make the grass come back. Well, if that in fact were true, then why isn't Long Point Bar loaded with grass? Why isn't Washburn Cove loaded with grass? Why isn't Mullet Creek loaded with grass, where you're talking about putting clams right by Mullet Creek? Why isn't it absolutely loaded with clams? Because there's a free-flowing inlet bringing very clean water in all spring long, and yet it's still a barren desert down there.
And look at Stewart as well, Sailfish Flat.
Yes, Stewart's the same way.
That opens up right to the end. I mean, that's the first where that clean water hits.
Yeah.
But then you got what Rufus Wakeman calls it, the toilet, or the toilet flush on the east side's right there in Stewart when it comes out Stewart.
It comes out the Loxahatchee and the St. Lucia rivers, But so by putting these clams back in, it will help the grass to reestablish in those areas. One of the things that I was going to get you to do, Blair, is I need to hook you up with Dan Kolodny. Dan Kolodny works for the National Estuaries Program.
I met Daniel yesterday.
Okay, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
So Dan has been doing seagrass replanting by Catfish Creek and Shell Point in the Banana River. So that whole northern side of the Thousand Island area, they're putting plugs out there, and then they're putting manatee excluder devices over them.
We need to take clams and put where they're putting the grass.
Exactly.
If you can then put some clams in that area to help with those plugs, help them to grow, I mean, it just seems like a win-win. But I was super interested in finding out from Dr. Todd that the grass needs the clams to grow. And so all of the things that we want to do are great, but we still are missing the main ingredient because they are so dependent on one another. We've got to get clams back in that water. So you said 1.25 million clams so far?
Yep, so far. And that's in different spots, like from JB's Fish Camp down to Rockwood.
Yeah, on various leases.
Yeah.
So the benefit, and let's go to the phone lines, but the benefit to these lease projects is that when those clams mature, then they can then free spawn on their own. And clams can be going everywhere.
And the clams we released yesterday, and on that spot, they've already released, like I say, we got 325,000 clams down there at River Rocks. And those clams within the next 8 months will spawn.
Awesome.
They will spawn, and they're in close enough proximity. What happened is with the commercial industry, when they came in here and basically, as you say, raped our river and tore the bottom up and took all our clams, they didn't take all the clams. They took enough clams to put it down to a point of non-sustainability. A clam has to be in close proximity to one another for the sperm and the eggs to get fertilized.
Gotcha.
And they all spawn at the same time. So if they're not in close proximity, they're just into the wind.
They're just broadcasting in the wind.
Into the water.
Yeah. Or the water, yeah.
And, nothing's happening. Now that we have them in such close proximity when they spawn, there's going to be even more because we do have them so close that get fertilized, and a lot of people call them spats, but I can't remember, Vegulites or something. But the little tiny clams, when they form, they actually swim for about a week, and then they fall down to an area, and that's where they spend their life.
Yeah.
And now that they're in close proximity, that cloud of fertilized clams are going to be, drifting through the water, and when they get heavy enough, boom, they sink down and their shells form, and that's going to be a new clam bed right there where they've spawned, and hopefully the pompano don't come in and eat them all.
Yeah.
But, that's why our September pompano run was so good for so many years, up until about 2009. You could go in the Indian River and catch all sorts. I mean, you'd have your limit of pompano and, 15 casts as soon as they started skipping. And that coincided with the clam spawn. The clam spawn was usually 2 weeks prior to when the pompano showed up, because by the time the clams got big enough to fall, that's when they were big enough for the pompano and stuff
Pompano
to eat.
to find them and eat them.
And we haven't had pompano run since 2009.
Yeah.
A good one anyway.
Let's go to the phone lines. We've got John calling in. Good morning, John.
Good morning. First of all, I enjoyed your show. I've enjoyed it for years. And,
well, thank you.
You're welcome. And last, I don't know, a couple shows ago, someone was talking about no-seams and some type of stuff you can put on you and to eliminate the problem. Could you tell me what that might have been?
Well, you're in luck, because when we come back from this next break, we're actually going to be talking about that product, because they sponsor that segment of the show. But it's a product called Anytime No Bite, and it's all natural. It's got a bunch of different oils and herbs and things that bugs don't seem to like, and it works pretty darn good. In fact, I can tell you, I was out in the woods tromping around looking for some places to put a deer stand up 2 weeks ago, and the only place that I didn't put that product on my legs, because I was in shorts, I didn't put it right around my ankles. I had my socks on, and then they were pulled up, and then when I put it on, and then as I walked, they kind of slid down a little bit. So I had about a half an inch area around my ankle. Guess where the chiggers got me? Yeah, right there. Nowhere else. Nowhere else on my legs. And normally, if you areas where chiggers are, they get all over you. Nope, only that little strip right around the top of my sock line. I had a couple of chigger bites. So it works on no-see-ums, it works on chiggers, it works really good on flies as well, deer flies and horse flies, because as you're out there and your buddies are out there, guess who's not swatting flies? Me.
Yeah, even
and I asked them if they wanted some, but they didn't want any. So it's called Anytime No Bite, and when we come back from the break, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But thanks for the call this morning, John. And you can find it on Amazon.
Okay. I just had... Since I found something that's great for after they bite you, and I'm allergic to them, and I get welts, and I scratch, and I bleed, and I've tried a bunch of stuff, and I found something that really works great, even though you're covered with bites, and you put this on, and it's a product called Eucerin, EUCERIN. It's a moisturizer, and it has intensive care, but it's the best thing I've ever had.
Oh, very cool. Well, appreciate that.
Great.
We appreciate that help, John.
Okay. Well,
right.
Thank you for. I'm going to hang by the radio and listen to the rest of the stuff.
Well, we appreciate you calling
in
and asking about that product from one of our sponsors, and then also we appreciate you giving the tip on if you've gotten bit, what to expect to try and help clean it up a little bit and kind of make it a little easier to live with. So thank you so much, John.
Okay, you're quite welcome.
Bye-bye now. Hey, gang, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more Catch 'em Airmen with Danny Beard, Captain Blair Wiggins, the Mogan Man from Addictive Fishing, and myself, Jim Ross, so don't go away. So we're working on trying to make it a little better for you guys and gals, but wanted to welcome those of you that haven't been on or have been on with us in a while. We got Shay Hobby that's on this morning. Miss Brenda Sanchez says good morning, and Matt Gingiliski. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too bad, Matt, but good morning to you too, sir. Thank you so much.
He knows you're talking about him.
Yeah, well, yeah. I didn't bring my glasses either, so it's not as easy. My iPhone 1, as everybody keeps, kidding me about. This is a 5, man. Come on.
I'm impressed. Still working.
I usually just say, that's why I fish.
Hey, you know what? We were talking about the Anytime No Bite before this break, and of course, it's a great product. It keeps no-seams off of you, but it keeps a lot of other stuff off of you too. And I really, really like it, and it's all natural, so you're not putting DEET or some other kind of crazy chemicals on your body. It's the same thing with sunscreen. It's like you want to put sunscreen on, but you want to find something that's natural, because most of the sunscreen out there, like the handles on your reels, you're spinning your bait casters or whatever, they're made out of that sort of rubber, rubberized material. And Shimano calls theirs Septon, and somebody else calls theirs something else. But anyway, that type of rubberized plastic, sunscreen melts that rubber. So are you really wanting to put it on your skin? I mean, think about it. So it's one of those things where with the Anytime, it's just natural oils and herbs, and it's as long as you're not allergic to any of those things that are ingredients in it. I don't think it has any nuts, so people that have nut, problems don't have to worry about that. But it's just one of those things. It's a great all-natural product that does actually work, and so check them out on Amazon.
Have to give that
myself.
Have to give that stuff a shot.
Yep.
And Danny, it's the 8:15 break, so we got to talk about the Starbrite cleaning solution segment. Now, you know what I was talking about? We are always talking about Performicide,
right?
Because Performicide is undoubtedly something that we all need right now.
Especially right now.
It's, COVID's back sprouting its ugly head up again. And,
Exactly.
It's just, you have to be diligent about it. We sit here and, every break, it seems like we're putting hand sanitizer on our hands and stuff, just to try and keep everything as clean and sanitary as possible. But there's other products that Starbrite makes that we really don't talk about a whole lot. And, one of the things that I had talked about in the past was the lubricating fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And the lubricating fluid, to me, I really like that product for working on gears, working on like my trailer axles, just different things that I don't necessarily have to lubricate them a whole lot, but they do need some protection. And that lubricating film seems to do a really good job without leaving any kind of like gooey residue or anything like that.
Right.
What is, it's made, the basis product is lanolin, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So what are some of the uses that you can use that lubricating fluid for?
It's like any of our products. It's not just for the marine RV that we're known for, but it's around the house uses,
Yeah.
Think of your garage door, the one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
They're
always noisy.
They're always, you always go get this special grease for your garage door. Just anything around the house, door hinges. I was using it the other day. Matter of fact, my daughter's door was squeaking.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those that we always like hearing on our websites and stuff, people coming up, oh, did you think about using this product here? Or, it's always great to see the uses. Blair, I know you use, there's a lot of stuff that we bring up to Blair, and he's kind of one of our test guys. He's using it, all kinds of stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
If you got a dog that licks your window to try to get in, there's some stuff called super orange that eats that saliva away, man.
Exactly.
I finally got a little video of him doing it, and he just stood there with his tongue hanging out, touching the window, and he just went that way, and he came back that way.
He just dragged his tongue across.
My wife was like, I just washed that door.
Well, it's like one of our other products, our Extreme Clean. You hear us talk about that a lot. I'll tell you one of the best uses for it around the house,
right,
is cleaning your gutters. In your outside fascia where you get what they call the black lines, the tiger stripes.
Yeah.
You spray that on there, and it will clean your gutters and your soffit and fascia and all that up. I was just doing my house the other day with it.
Interesting.
So, it's the surfactants in there. It's not just for the boats. It's,
Yeah.
they grab hold of all the, jet fuel you come out of the air with and all of that gets out there, and it'll take it right off.
Yeah, it's amazing how many black streaks you can get after a rainstorm.
Yes,
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
well, it's, like my camper trailer that I use up at the hunting lease. It'll get mold all over it. Sitting up at the hunting camp underneath the woods all year long. I'll take the super orange or basically any of the products. If it's got mold on it or got mold stains on it, I use the mold and stain remover. Spray it on there, leave it on there for a little bit, and you'll actually see the mold just start running off.
I use that religiously.
Yeah, that
I
stuff
go
is
through gallons
awesome.
of that stuff. Honestly, I couldn't live without it.
Yeah, there's sometimes that mold to get on your boat seats, and you put 100% bleach on it and scrub it, it won't come off, and it'll still leave that stain on there. But that mold stain remover that Starbrite makes, you put that on there and just effortlessly rub it with one of the yellow brushes or even your hand, and that all of a sudden that stain lifts off, and you can actually watch it disappear, kind of like the rust stain remover on a hook. A rusty hook spot on your deck.
And if you use straight bleach too, you're looking at messing with your stitching in your seats and all that. Where is our mold mildew stain remover? It's a buffered product. It's a buffer bleach product, so it's not going to hurt your upholstery.
I use it in my fish boxes too.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I just
It gets that funk out of there.
I feel like it's reducing the amount of potential. I don't know what you would call it. If you have leftover film or residue from a fish, I spray my fish box out, and then I take that I squirt a little bit of the orange boat washing wax and a little bit of the mildew remover on my brush, and just go in there and go to town on it. And man, it's night and day difference.
There's an actual condition that you can get from the fish slime out there. It's called Microbacteria marinum. I have it. That's the reason I know about that. I couldn't have thought up that name.
I'm going to start shooting this way then.
But it's Microbacteria marinum, and what it does, it attacks your digits, your fingers or your toes, and if you get pricked by a fish, it'll look like a little pimple on your finger or whatever.
Right.
You got to try to pop it, because it hurts. It'll pop that little one, but there's a bigger sac underneath that you can't see that squirts all that staph right back down into your bloodstream, and it gets pretty nasty. And back before Starbrite was around in my life, I used to take my hands and soak them in bleach when I was a fishing guide, just because of it was so sore, and that was how I killed the bacteria. But I still got it anyway. But and it's pretty nasty. And that bleach on your hands, it just makes them crack,
it's not
and
good.
it's nasty. That chlorine is not
the
good
other
for
thing,
you.
So yesterday I got 2 barracuda teeth in my index finger here. We were releasing him on the boga grip after taking a picture, and of course barracuda do what barracuda do, and he starts shaking and trying to tail walk, and pretty soon I've got 2 finger sticks, two tooth sticks in the side of my finger, which is here and here, as you can see very clearly. They're still there, and they bled for quite a while. And then another fish, we were releasing one of those endangered unicorn snappers, because there's none of those things out there anywhere. Anyway, I was releasing one of those, and he cut with a gill, got me right there on.
Ooh, they got a nasty.
Yeah, they
gill
got a
plate.
nasty gill. So he got me right there. So when I get home, I take that mold and mildew stain remover and I squirt it on there, and it takes, first of all, it takes the sting out of it, and it burns, but when you wash it off, then the sting from the cut and the bacteria that's in there goes away. So that's what I do when I get home. Is I just so there's you can't see it on Facebook from here, but there's my fingers, and there's a barracuda tooth there, and then there's a red snapper gill plate there. So it's.
And if you didn't put that on, it'd be sore as heck.
Swell up and get nasty, like you were saying, and you can get you can get really bad.
The other good one for that would be Performicide.
Yeah, Performicide.
I use that. You get a cut. Matter of fact, my daughter cut her foot the other day out surfing, and came in, and I put that right on it.
On it.
Putting the clams out yesterday, I got a couple little cuts on my hand and sprayed Performicide on it, and you know how you just a little teeny tiny cut and it just hurts like heck the next day because of the bacteria in there. That Performicide, you can take, and I can hit it where I got a cut now, and it's Doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt anymore. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take a break. We appreciate all of you guys joining in this morning. We've got a couple more people that have jumped on. Donald Waberman's with us this morning. Jeff Dees is with us. And, hey, my buddy John Turtle. I haven't seen John in quite some time. Good morning, John. John Romano's out there as well. So good morning to those of you guys and gals that have just joined into the show. Captain Blair Wiggins, Danny Beard from Starbrite, and myself, Jim Ross, are going to be right back with more Catch a Memory after these messages. I'm Captain Jim Ross. Appreciate you guys and gals that are just tuning in. Danny Beard from Starbrite is in with us this morning.
Morning.
Appreciate the support from Starbrite and those guys in all the aspects of our lives, from our personal, work boats to helping with the clam restoration project. To you guys you're into everything. You're into NASCAR now. You're into powerboat racing. You guys are all over the place. So that's awfully nice that you guys and gals are giving from Starbrite, are giving back.
Well, that's what it's all. That's you're out there for business and all that, but you got to give back, Jim. As we've been a longtime supporter of the CCA and the STAR program, we do stuff for their banquets throughout the state. Do different programs down south. We have a big turtle hatchling program that we've been involved with for years down in Fort Lauderdale.
That's cool.
Where they go out and literally we do the buckets where they go out and pick up the turtle hatchlings and all of that, and then up here with the clam project, which is definitely close to my heart and Blair's from being up here and yourself or living up here. But you got to give back. That's the number one rule is you're out there to make a living, but you also got to give back.
And you guys could just make great products. Everything that you guys make, there's a lot of scientific study and thought that goes into it and what it needs to do. And you make a product for just about everything. So,
And one thing I always say, too, about the Starbrite products, whatever it says it does on the label, like the rust stain remover, it removes rust stains. And it does so much more than that. I mean, you have, an oak leaf gets in your boat, you put the rust stain remover on it, takes it off.
Yeah.
It's amazing what the stuff does. You got a real bad scum line or a real bad tannic acid on your boat, the rust stain remover takes it off. I know they make hull cleaner that does the same thing, but the hull cleaner, that will really take it off. If you want to do a light job on it, that rust stain remover, it's incredible. You can literally watch the tannic stain disappear in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
If there's overspray on it, you see where the little drops hit everywhere on the stain. It's amazing.
Yeah,
like I say, everything their products say they do, and beyond what they do.
Very cool. So we're going to go to the phone lines. We've got Donald Waberman on this morning. It says he's been trying. Let's see, Facebook. Good morning, all. You were actually listening to the WWBC radio over there. Are we transmitting that far, or did you get us on the WWBC app this morning, Donald?
No, I do on the app on my phone.
Gotcha.
Sometimes on my computer, but it's mostly on the phone because it's nice and portable. But yeah, good morning, Captain Blair. You had a contest a long time ago to take people fishing. And I signed up for my wife, and I said, "You're going to win this," but she didn't. But I was hoping she would. That would have been awesome for her to go fishing with you. That would have been cool.
Yeah, we do that contest. We do that contest every year. I don't guide anymore, but I do trips like that and just take fans out and stuff. It's a lot of fun to do. But we do one of those every single year, and a lot of times at the CCA banquets, I donate trips there as well. And you can donate your money to there and get to go fish with me, and that's a great way if you want to come fish with me. The CCA always usually has one of my trips up there for auction.
Yeah.
We'll probably have one of his trips up there on the clam project auction this year too. If you want to donate to some clams,
definitely. There might even be 2 trips there.
Donald, have you been fishing this week?
I was out last Saturday night with my kayak club fishing over by Fort DeSoto. I don't know if you got to see the photos that I took of the sunset. It's phenomenal. Fishing over by Shell Key, Fort DeSoto, catching some trout and some catfish. But it was just great to be out there. We beached the kayaks on a sandbar and fishing the channel, but really didn't catch much. But it was just a great outing. The tide wasn't what I was hoping it would be. There's an island, Little Sister Key it's called, that's got oyster bars around it, but there was like no water. I mean, literally, I couldn't get within 100 yards of there because there's no water. But it's still great to be out there.
This time of year, y'all there at Shell Key, get outside in the Gulf and come back to the shoreline and fish about the first 10 feet out from the shoreline on a high tide. In that little trough in there, you will find snook all morning long up and down there. And when you get to the beach, don't cast to the beach. Get up 10 feet off the beach. I usually wade it, but you're fishing in almost just over shin deep water. And the snook get in there and lay on the bank. They're staging up out there right now this time of year to spawn. So you'll get a lot of snook on the beach. And just a DOA terrorize, any skidder walk, anything like that. But you got to be there early because as soon as the bait guys come, it can get a little frustrating.
Yeah, we were doing this at night, and there were a lot of boaters out there, and I didn't want to take a chance going around towards the Gulf. Jet skiers, I don't trust those guys in my kayak, jet skiers, because they don't pay attention to anything. Even though I've got a 3-foot, flag, a 3-foot pole with a flag on it and lights on it, like still, gotta make sure you're seen. But it's still a great outing.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, that's great what you do, Captain Blair, with the clam projects and everything. Lisa Fitzgerald said there's something going to be starting on our side down in Sarasota area, same sort of projects.
Yep, that's what I've heard.
Very cool.
CCA all over the Gulf states. Anywhere there was recreational clam beds, they're actually looking at this project right now, and it's the positive data is finally starting to come in that it's working. Imagine that. You put live things in and they start filtering right away. But the data's coming back. The clams are growing very fast because there is so much pollution and nutrients out there in the water for them. But the ones that we've already put out are doing great. They're absolutely doing great.
That is awesome to hear. Very awesome. That's great what you guys are doing all over the place. Mosquito Lagoon is getting a little cleaned up from what I'm hearing, and I'm going to be over there, not in Mosquito Lagoon area, but Wabasso Beach, staying at the Disney place in September. So I'm hoping to get out there and do some fishing. And I signed up my grandson for the Star, but they live up in Charleston, South Carolina. My son-in-law's in the Air Force, and they can't leave right now because of the COVID here, but because they were supposed to be here this coming week. So I was going to take them fishing, but they can't come down. But hopefully they'll be able to come down in September when we're going over there. So we're going to go take him fishing and enter some fish for him, and hopefully get a scholarship. That would be so awesome.
That would be neat. That's the neat thing about it. Just one fish, and you can be a recipient or your child can be a recipient, or grandchild can be a recipient of a $5,000 scholarship or a $25,000 scholarship. That's, that is some substantial, coin right there. And just to go, just to go fishing, just to go catch a fish. So that's a really cool thing.
Absolutely. Because when I was at the Star Banquet last year, it was just so cool seeing all these kids, winning these scholarships. It's like, man, that is what a burden, that's off the shoulders of these parents.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Donald, we appreciate the call this morning. Are you going to get a chance to go out fishing this week?
I am. July 1st, CCA starts. I'm out there. I've got a game plan. I know where I'm going. I know what the tides. I've already looked at everything. So I just got to pray the weather cooperates.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a pretty week so far. Maybe a little rain towards the end of the week, but it looks like it's going to be pretty in the morning. So keep our fingers crossed for you.
Yep, I'm going July 1st, going out July 3rd. So I'm not going on the 4th because that's just going to be nuts out there. I'm not going to my kayak on July 4th.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks so much for the call this morning.
All right, well, guys, take care, and I'll talk to you next week, and maybe I'll call in and say, hey, I got a tagged redfish.
That would be, we would be.
Well, good luck on that, man.
We'd love to hear that.
That would be a cool thing.
Thanks.
Very
Thanks,
cool.
Donald.
You
Bye
guys
now.
take care. Tight line. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye now. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, we got a last segment of the show with Captain Blair Wiggins, the Mogan Man, and Danny from Starbrite. So don't go away. We're going to be right back. Welcome back. This last segment of the show is going to be a fun one because we've got a couple of things to wrap up on. You know, we were talking with Captain Blair Wiggins and Danny Beard, and of course the Indian River Lagoon Clam Restoration Project has been going on now it's been a full year from just about today.
A little over a
basically.
year is when we really started.
Kind of started doing things. To date, Blair, how many clams have they successfully been able to breed from those original dozen or 15 or 30 that they pulled out of the Indian River Mosquito Lagoon complex?
6 million.
6 million clams from 13.
Yeah, they've done 2 spawns now, and they've gotten...
How many did they originally get? Was it 13 or 30 or... It was less than 50 clams.
Oh, it was 30 clams. They spent 3 days in the south end of Mosquito Lagoon where the water's the dirtiest, the water's the...
Most polluted.
Most polluted. The salinity's high at times, salinity's low at times, 0 tide flow. And that's, the commercial industry tried doing the clams here years ago where they bought the spats from, a certain place.
Somewhere else.
And then they brought them here, and their mortality rate was like 80%.
Yeah.
They only got that 30% yield off their clams, so it didn't work. The reason is they weren't native clams to this area.
Gotcha.
So what we've done is gone down in Mosquito Lagoon, got the native clams from this area, and spawned those clams. So those clams there had the genetic makeup basically to survive the worst conditions, the saltiest conditions, or the fresh water conditions.
Yeah.
And what a clam can do if those conditions, stick around for more than a week, say you get a hurricane that comes in or a tropical storm dumps in 15, 20 inches of rain, a clam can bury itself underneath in the mud and stay there for 2 weeks, not have to filter and stay alive. Unfortunately,
These clams can.
These clams can, yeah. Unfortunately, with the other crustaceans out there that filter, oysters and whatnot, they have to filter and they get that fresh water in on top of the fresh water that comes in from the runoffs and the septic tanks and everything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't make it.
Yeah.
And they can't get away from that fresh water to survive. A clam buries down in the mud and can stay there for these clams for up to like 2 weeks before they have to come out and filter. And usually after 2 weeks' time here in the Indian River Lagoon system, that gives enough time for the water to flow out naturally and the salinity starts creeping back up.
Come back up, to a more tolerable level.
And they stick their little tubes up and they say, hey, it's good time to feed. It's good water. So they come up and they start feeding.
Or better water anyway.
Better water.
Yeah.
But
see, that's what's really interesting is the amount of research that's gone into just this one species and the benefit from just this one species to other species, like we were talking about, like the seagrasses.
Well, not only the seagrasses, what a decline have you seen of pinfish in the Indian River?
Oh yeah,
pinfish and clams have a symbiotic relationship where the clam sticks its feeding tube up out of the mud, and the pinfish do what they call nipping, and they come and nip the tubes of the clam, and that's one of their main sources of food. And without the clams there, our pinfish population in the river, I remember seeing schools of 100, where you go out and cast your net and go snook fishing that night. And I haven't seen a school of...
Well, not only that, but pinfish also pick on seagrass. They pick little things off the seagrasses. And so without having seagrass there, once again, no pinfish.
Yeah.
If there's no food source, there's not going to be a fish there. So that whole relationship between grass and clams is pretty interesting that we've learned about over the years, at least I've learned about over the last year because of being involved with, a project like this. And the other thing that really, really is shocking to me is the amount of money that we're spending to clean up places, the millions and millions of dollars that we're spending to clean up. And what I would like to see a cost analysis of the clams that are being put back into the lagoon system versus the other types of cleanups, because they've already done cost analysis for all of the external inputs and those other things. So as an example, and don't quote me directly on this, but muck dredging getting the muck that has all of the contaminants in it that's sitting in some of the deeper sections of the lagoon system. Muck dredging is by far, not even close to number 2. It stands above as the best pound for dollar ratio, the best cleanup that is potentially available. And second, and it's a distant second, but it is second, and that is septic to sewer conversion, so that your septic tank is not leaking into the lagoon system. Those are the 2 highest cost versus benefit scenarios.
And unfortunately, you look at all these neighborhoods, and what are they putting in? Brand new septic tanks.
Yeah. Or, well, the county has kind of put a little bit of a moratorium on that, but it's still not as much as it could be. So the next thing is stormwater runoff, which includes rainwater deposition, because every time it lightnings, it rains, or lightning actually produces nitrogen, and then the rain collects it and puts it into the ground. That's why grass grows when it rains, and that's why grass will grow if you water it when it's not raining. And so that's why putting lawn fertilizer on your grass is unnecessary and a waste of money, because your grass can't normally utilize it. Because if you're watering your grass with well water, the parts per million in the well water of nitrogen in the well water already is enough to sustain the grass. So to put an additional amount on top of it, and I've used this analogy in the past, you got a cold, frosty mug of beer, nice to the top, full, perfect pour. You know what I'm saying? The kind we all like when it's hot in the afternoon. And then you take a whole nother beer out of a bottle and you try and pour it into that frosty mug that's already full. What are you doing? You're wasting beer.
You sure got a lot of analogies with beer.
I'm just talking about what I know. But it's the same thing. You've already got a full glass. You can't put any more in it. The nitrogen that the grass is utilizing from your well water is already enough to sustain it. From what's coming from the rain is already enough to sustain it. So to put more fertilizer on grass makes no sense and wastes money. Wouldn't you rather have a cold beer with the money that fertilizer cost you than know that you're wasting money by putting fertilizer down? That's what I'm getting at. So,
or take your fertilizer money and just send it to the clam project.
There you go.
Send it to the clam project. So to bring it around full circle, I would like to see that those different inputs and those different removal processes with the muck dredging and removing septic and putting them on sewer, I would like to see a cost analysis done between all of those literally hundreds of millions of dollars that are being spent versus the internal benefit by putting clams back in and the cost associated with that. That would be an interesting analysis. So let's just say that let's just use like a 1 million clam as a base, okay? Because there's going to be eventually here in the next year or so, there'll be 1 million clams replaced in the Indian Lagoon system. So of those million clams, how much nitrogen do they filter out of the water, and then take that cost or per clam and the benefit versus all of the other money we're spending? I think that would be a really, really interesting number, and I bet you I'm no scientist. I'm just a fishing guide that likes to drink cold beer, but I would bet you that the clam restoration project is probably going to be even more beneficial than muck dredging is. I honestly feel that it will pull more nitrogen out of the water than what muck dredging does. I don't know.
Muck dredging's good. I mean,
it's a great thing. It's the best thing we have right now as far as from a cost analysis. It is by far the best. But I'd be interested to see.
I'll take you one step further, Jim. It's not the muck dredging or the septic tanks. When you go to the septic tanks, you look at what's gone on in the Keys in the last 5-6 years when they've shipped it over.
They're completely offset.
They're completely off, and you can really see the difference now.
Yeah, Key Largo Sound's got bonefish back in
it again, yeah.
But you look at,
and there's no denying that those other things are beneficial.
Oh, absolutely. But where I'm going with it is all these studies that are wasting money. And that was when Blair hit us, came to Starbrite, and we were talking about this several years ago, getting the clam project going. It's you got municipalities let's study this, let's put another $1 million into this study.
Or 500,000.
What can we do right now to get something going?
Right.
We can sit here and study this for the next 5 years and spend millions and millions of dollars. But what can we do right now? What is the quickest route to get something going in this lagoon?
Yeah.
And it was the clams really were at the top of the list. It was something we could go do. We could put out there. Yesterday I was out there and nailing down nets and broadcasting clams with Dr. Todd and Jose, the Clam Whisperer. It was just a great day. We had FWC in, had all these other organizations. There was about 25 of us out there. And it really made you feel good to actually hold these things in your hand and you're putting them back into the lagoon and know they're going to be doing something.
Know that they're immediately.
And immediately. And here's what the interesting thing was, is we were sitting there, I was sitting there talking to Dr. Todd. And as we were putting these things down, he's like, Danny, look at this. They were already starting to bury themselves. They were moving and going into the mud as we were putting them down. And these things are right there, and it's happening. And that's what was the really neat part yesterday. And watching it happen.
Yeah, watching clams do what clams do.
Exactly. So it was immediate gratification.
Well, if you guys and gals want to get involved, obviously it doesn't take much. It really doesn't. You can go to donate at irlclamproject.com, and that's the easiest way to find it. You can go to Starbrite's website. You can see information about it. You can go to the Addictive Fishing website and see information about it. You can go to CCA and see information about it. There's a whole lot of places where you can find out information, and you can spend $20, $30, $50, $100, whatever you want to spend to help this lagoon system and give back, like you say, like Danny says, immediate gratification to know that you're doing something beneficial for this lagoon system. So go to donate at irlclamproject.com and check it out. That's for sure.
It's working.
Yeah,
it is working.
And thank you both. Thank you guys both.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I mean, you were a big benefit for us on that on the auction last year.
Yep. Well, I appreciate it.
Thanks. It was a great turnout, and it was the first one I ever did. I'm thinking, who's going to come to this? We got all this. We spent a ton of money on this, so hopefully, everybody's got to come. And we almost had to turn people away.
Yeah,
it was that many people showed up.
And hopefully this year, COVID or no COVID, there's that kind of a response once again. There is, if you can have it and everybody can come, then great. If you can't have it and it's a virtual event, then great. Everybody can still get online and bid on things virtually and just be a big part of what's going on with this cleanup.
I'm going to jump one more back thing on that the fertilizer deal. My son Drayden and I were out fishing a couple days last week, and we were pre-fishing, trying to find some fish for the shoot. We were going to do docks and whatnot. So we were down south fishing, and I was fishing just north of Grand Island, Hog Cove back in there, and there's some new houses in there, beautiful green lawns, trim mangroves to 6 feet, and out in front of these houses, it was milk.
Yeah.
And I went down, and you could see where the mangrove line started, and as soon as I hit the mangrove line, crystal clear.
Yeah,
you couldn't see 2 inches in the water.
You can see immediate.
They must have just fertilized these 4 yards there.
Yeah, it was what's coming off of those
nasty.
yards. I don't get it. But there's enough good people out there helping us all spread the word. All the listeners of the show helping us spread the word. Eventually you bang on enough. You bang on something enough, and people start seeing and listening. And
the ones that really get me are the ones you tell and they go, "I don't care."